Hello and welcome to Village Theater Spotlight, sharing stories and creating I hear all the sirens out. I'm in New York City. Sharing stories, creating connections. That's what it is. I got it all out. So listen, to commemorate today's theme, I believe I'd like everyone who's viewing to answer the following questions. And then we're going to tally up the answer to that question at the end of the episode. You can put it in the chat. So here's the question. Is theater an art, a science, a religion, or a commodity? Again, is theater an art, a science, a religion, or a commodity? We'll tally up those things that you thought, and you will find out what all of you collectively thought at the end of this episode. Can't wait. So without further ado, let me bring to the screen our guests tonight, Karen Lund and Joseph Tancioco. Welcome, Joseph. Karen, there you are.
Hello.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello.
Oh, my goodness. We got off to a rocky New York start because of those fire engines, and I knew it would happen. And it always happens at the most interesting time because it's a city. But it's okay. Because we're here, you're here, we're here together. Listen, I like to start things off by having you fill in your hyphens. So, Karen, if I started off with director hyphen artistic director, you would say?
Mom, wife, done a little bit of writing and some filmmaking too. So.
Hyphenated. Nice. Joseph, actor, musician, hyphen.
Uncle, first of all, I would say uncle. Optimist, pragmatic, and a Disney Universal super fan, like theme park super fan. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Nice start to that. And as a bit of a social lubricant, I'd like you to both answer the following. Joseph, I'll start out with you.
Okay.
What's the oldest thing you own?
My body, and believe me, I believe it. I feel it every day. I don't hide my age. So, like, I'm 47. I will be 48 in December. And yeah, I mean, when I turned 30, I woke up and I went, oh my God, what is that? And then when I turned 40, oh, my knees. So I think my body, and I'm not making light of it. Yeah.
Karen, what about you? Answer the same question. What's the oldest thing you own?
We have sitting here in our living room a family Bible that it's the Lund family Bible. So it's from my husband's family, and it's well over 100 years old.
Wow.
And I just feel so honored that we get to be the ones who have it. But you open it up and it has the birth registers of all of the ancestors and the family.
Yes, historically, that's where they put those data points. They put them in the Bible, right? Their family Bible.
So we have the Lund Bible.
Fascinating. That's so cool. Okay. Different subject. Karen, I'll start with you. What did you eat so much of that now you hate it?
Oh, that is really good. What did I eat? Oh, this summer, banana pudding.
Oh no, that's tragic. Banana pudding.
I
so
love
delicious.
banana pudding. We kept buying bananas and we kept overbuying bananas. And so I was like, that's okay. I'll make banana pudding. And we kept making it to now I'm kind of like, I can not have banana pudding for a while and I'll be okay.
Joseph?
I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here with some fancy questions, but like, there's nothing I will not eat.
Yeah. You've never eaten like something so much like chocolate covered cherries that you got.
Well, I mean, there's foods that I don't like to eat, like coconut. But like that's different than like I've eaten so much of, let's say, sushi or something.
Okay.
That I can't eat anymore. There's nothing that I've eaten that I won't eat again.
Fair enough. I like it. Okay, so what is better, Karen? What is better, broken than whole?
What is better broken than whole? Maybe graham crackers,
Oh,
right? Like graham cracker crust for one thing is amazing. Yeah, I'll stick with that.
okay.
Oh, or
Joseph, what
shredded wheat.
yes. Yes. Rice Krispie cakes. Love them broken. Joseph, what about you?
Does it have to be food?
Nope.
Oh, again, not trying to be all smart alecky.
Why not? You can be smart,
Uh,
Alki. It's okay.
My
Loud.
heart, a heart. Like, I think, and like I was, not
Do you
just
mean-
preparing
wait.
for this thing tonight, but I'm like, I've had my heart broken twice in my life. And
But do you think that's better? Do you think your heart's better broken than whole?
No, not broken. Mended, yes, but the fact that I broke in the first place.
I see. Oh, well,
I
that's
think
okay.
it helps you grow, and I think it's an important part of your identity.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, that's about vulnerability, isn't it? Wow. What's the most amazing feat you've managed to pull off, Karen?
Oh,
Well, I've had 2 kids. So I
Yes.
think that's pretty impressive.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Also, I've been in a marriage for 27 years
Mhm.
to the
Mhm.
same guy. That's pretty impressive.
Yes. Okay.
And I
Yeah.
worked at the same theater for 27 years.
Yeah. See? Great.
My
All
marriage
right.
is as old as my time at Taproot.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. That says a lot about the organization and you and your husband and your family. So that's great. What about you, Joseph?
I think keeping my same job my day job that I've had for 21 years now, actually.
I love the name of your day job. Will you please share it with us? Because when I heard this, I went, I
Like
want to
my
be that.
title?
Yeah, I
You
want to
mean
be
my
that.
title? Okay, so I'm the program manager in the Office of Marriage, Family Life, and Formation at the Catholic Archdiocese of Seattle.
Yeah, see?
And I've been there for 21 years. Yeah, pretty much the same department.
That is the title.
It's
Wow.
long.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It covers a lot of ground. Karen, what do you need help with the most often?
Technology.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I hate that. I am not a digital native.
Okay.
And yet, everyone around me and my kids, everyone's digital natives but me.
Mhm.
I'm a guest in your world here.
Okay. Yes.
I must be treated with kindness.
Yes. All right. Joseph, what about you?
I think asking for help, because I like to just do things and to the point of being too self-sacrificing sometimes, but so I never ask for help even though I should ask for help.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's answering your question, but
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
And do you are you a guy who asks for directions if you need them?
No.
Wow.
Even if I'm well, I've never lost because I'm not a technophobe and
Uh-huh.
I'm in the digital world and I know how to use resources that way.
Uh-huh. Okay. We're finding a lot about you two in these supposed to be icebreaker questions, but you all go deep. I love it. Okay. Karen, when was the last time you felt hopelessly lost?
Last night around midnight, maybe.
I don't know why you should say that.
Maybe it was more like 1:30.
Uh-huh.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I'll stick with that answer.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I like it loaded and brief. Nice. I see what you're doing there. Joseph, what about you? When's the last time you were hopelessly lost?
The last time, right? Not just a moment in my life that I felt lost.
It's the last time that you can clock it. That's like, man, that was the last time.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. I know that when my dad died, but that was like many, many years ago.
Isn't that great though? Isn't that great that like I love when I have conversations like when I say, when's the last time you've had an argument with your spouse? And it's like, and people have to really think about it. I think that's great when you have to think about the last time or that you had a row with your kids or anything like that. That's great. It's great that you don't on a daily basis go, oh, just yesterday I felt hopeless, and the day before that, and the day before that. That is not what you need in your life, Joseph.
Well, I thought that too, Karen, but I didn't want to just ditto. You know, like, I just want to say that. But
I love it all.
Some things you're allowed to ditto.
Yes, and by the way, because they're icebreakers, there are no wrong answers.
Good to know.
Yes, Karen. When I met you a while ago because our casting director at Village Theatre, Jessica Spencer, said you've got to meet Karen Lund, and we did. We had a delightful lunch right next door to the theater that you run, Taproot, and then later, I got to watch you work directing a production of She Loves Me at Village Theatre. Can we? Karen, just lovely work. Not just the end result, but watching you in the process and watching you and Jessica work so closely together. That was impressive, and so I thank you and applaud you all at the same time.
Well, and we had another really great collaborator, RJ. Joseph's brother was our music director. And
don't say that. I'm RJ's brother. I'm RJ's brother.
You two don't start no stuff up in here.
You should, maybe in the future you can have both of us on for one of these things.
Yes.
Just you wait, Henry Higgins. I mean, like, yeah.
If you promise me that I don't have to tell you any of the prompts or any of the questions, I will have you two on.
Okay. Deal. I'm a go. I don't know if RJ's watching right now, but I'm a done deal. So
I love that. And you also, Karen, with She Loves Me, you also had a wonderful choreographer as well.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole process, being together, that entire team, the actors, the designers, everything about it. It was just, and it was so much fun. There was just such a joy in the room. There was a joy in the process, and it was just delightful. It's definitely a highlight for me of my career, and just such great audiences too. So, and darn it, COVID stopped it short.
Yeah.
I was anxious to see where it was going to head up in Everett, to see what kind of life it continued to take on, because that team of artists just and technicians just really enjoyed each other and supported each other, and it was just so great.
Well, thank you for being such a wonderful guest artist, and soon to return as soon as we can return. When we open our doors. Listen, we also want to celebrate your work in other theaters, and certainly at your home theater of Taproot. And I had a few pictures sent over. One of them is Persuasion, which you directed. Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful Cayman Illica. Matthew Posner.
Yes, I know them well. Godspell.
Oh yes, there's Sarah Portlob.
And here's something.
Stage as she should be.
Absolutely. Is she doing Turn Back Old Man? This is what I surmise.
Or Bless the Lord. Or is that Bless the Lord? I don't know.
Which one is that? Karen, do you remember, Karen?
Oh my gosh, I wish I can't remember the name of the song, but it's the gospel number.
Yeah, it's Bless the Lord. Yeah.
Oh, bless the Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, bless the Lord, my soul. Okay, now
Mike Spee and Daniel Stoltenberg there, and B. Russell is in that picture too, if you can see her.
I love it. I love it. So many. Yeah, Karen. I don't know if you. I know this, but you were in Godspell once too.
I was. Oh my gosh! I didn't know you knew that.
I do know that. You know, there's this thing called the interwebs, and there's a lot of stuff about you on there.
I've heard of it, but I have problems with it.
And you also did recently. You did a show called Bright Star with another one of our shared a group of our shared artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'll recognize in this picture Britta Wagner right there up front,
Mm-hmm.
Brian Pachu, and all kinds of people that you would know back there. I can't name everybody, but there's Eric Jensen right there in the middle.
That's what I think is just so. I just want to say that is so wonderful about the Village Theater, Taproot, all the Seattle theaters, is that all of this shared talent. That is just this wonderful network of shared talent, not only actors but designers and directors and choreographers and music directors. It's so great to have to go to a theater that's not your theater and go, oh, I know that person and that person, that person. And you look at the programs like, oh, I know that designer. It's really cool. So thank you.
Seattle has a wonderful ecosystem of artists and technicians and designers and it's just so great. To me, it's really important. And I don't think people know this about theaters. They may think that theaters are in competition, but in Seattle, that's not really how we think about it. We actually think your success at Village actually leads to our success at Taproot because of your success and how well you employ artists. When they're not employed by you, that gives me an opportunity to employ those same artists, right? And when I can't employ them, maybe they're employed at ACT or Seattle Shakes, but we need all those opportunities for actors to be employed so that they stay in Seattle.
Yes, that's the point.
Advantage of their talent. Yeah.
That's the point, Karen, because otherwise we risk having them go out of town so much. But if you can make a career out of the so many beautiful theaters in Seattle and very different identities. And it's so cool that that theater artists can work in so many different disciplines with different groups of people, different points of view. I think this is just a wonderful thing, such a wonderful synergy. Joseph, I feel like I have a trapdoor kind of memory when it comes to working with folks, and I know that we worked together in a very strange circumstance where I think you came in for maybe 3 days or 4 days. And I think it was Great Wall.
Yeah, it was Great
Wall.
Wall.
Can you remind me, because I tried to scour my mind for how that came into being. What was that all about?
I think I filled in for several days because the actor's dad was ill.
That's right.
And you were in the middle of staging, so
look at you.
needed a body to walk around and block.
Okay. Karen, you probably know that Joseph is multi-talented already.
Yes, I've seen him act and sing and perform.
Okay. So let me tell you something about Above and Beyond. Now I remember he was actually only called to walk around and block.
Yeah.
And Joseph sang and acted. And just
I'm not going to do anything
it was his part. It was just so amazing, so that the whole company could continue their work while this person could take their grace period to take care of their family. So that now once you said it came flooding back, that I remember you being an overachiever and going, oh, Joseph, you can just walk around. It's like, oh, no. He's like fully in it. And I love that about you.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for that. And
an actor who cares about other actors, right?
Yes,
he probably wanted them to have something to work with.
Yeah, and realize and people realize that those hours are valuable, and if you can add something to the continuation of that work, it's just such a beautiful gift for people. And I so thank you for that, Joseph.
Oh.
And I mean, I look through the database of Village Theater to see what credits I should pull. You have dozens of Village Theater credits as a musician, a keyboard programmer, an actor, singer. I mean, an arranger. It's just you. I mean, you are completely hyphenated throughout the Village Theater canon. It's just amazing. And I would dare say that you might have, outside of maybe Steve Tompkins, you probably have the second highest score credits. It's crazy. It's
Wow.
crazy.
So like, and you probably know this or can figure this out for me. Like, I'm a very loyal person, and so, and I remember when we were doing In the Heights, a few years ago, and there was an interview. So I live in Everett, and somebody from the Everett Herald, I think, interviewed me and talking about my work at Village, and I brought up the same thing. I said, I'm a loyal person, and when I find something that's life-giving, I kind of stick with it. And
there you go.
Like, not to like butter up Village Theater, but I mean, it's life-giving to me. It's life-giving to so many people, but to me, in this example, it is. And so I'm there.
And thank you for giving back to it. And yeah, right. And Joseph, I just wanted to bring up some notable on-stage performances for you. Because we have photos of The Passage that you did. This was a beta show. This is our New Works program where we do workshop productions. This was directed by Brandon Ivy, our associate artistic director, and Brandon also leads the New Works program for our theater so beautifully. And this show knocked me out. It's so beautifully emotional, and I loved you and it in this entire company. Another show you did on the main stage is In the Heights.
Yes.
Yeah,
with my bottles of syrup.
And then you did before that. You did The King and I as well. Oh, look at that!
I love
drama.
That I wish I had it.
Drama. That's fantastic. Something you weren't able. I don't think you were, because I think they're pre-production photos. I don't know if you ever got into production. Did you ever actually perform head over heels? And we have a really great picture of this.
Oh yeah. Like that was at Arts West last fall. Oh yeah, I did the whole run.
I love that picture.
That was pre-production. They gave me ruffles, and I just took a selfie because I could not take a selfie.
That's just amazing. That should go on maybe just every wall that in
that should be my
headshot,
right?
It's just it's so great.
Can I share something? And
sure, absolutely.
Because The Passage still, like, it moved me then to be part of that, because we did it at the festival, and then also the 3-week developmental thing. That is such a special show to me because, and I mentioned this earlier tonight. So my dad passed away, right, and that's many, many years ago, and spoiler alert, something like that happens in The Passage. And actually, when my dad passed away, I was out of town. I was at a theme park, for God's sake. So I was not able to be near him. But that The Passage, and I told David this, the composer and the creator, it gave me a chance to actually be in the room every night that happened in The Passage. Like when somebody passes away, the chance that I know it sounds schmaltzy, but I mean it 1,000%.
Hey, Joseph, it doesn't sound schmaltzy, and it's the reason why we're here today with you and Karen to talk about the power of that catharsis that theater provides and that faith provides. So I'm so glad that you shared that with me. And by the way, I'm moving through topics because I want to talk to you about everything, Karen, both. But if you want to stop me for any reason, please do, because you're here to talk with us. And if we have to have a couple more episodes to bring you back, so be it. Let's luxuriate in the subjects that we're talking about today. Okay, great, thank you. Now I could go on with theater credits, but I do want to talk about other things because the theme is, I believe. And I wrote some things down just to keep myself on track because because there's theater, religion, it's all packed with history that I love, and so I want to keep myself on task. So I wrote down that talking politics and religion are hard enough at a dinner table, and both can be so tricky among theater makers. Politics aside, religion has a long intertwined history with theater. And I count myself very fortunate to have both of you here to share your views on this very antique and complex relationship. And I asked Karen, I'll start with you. Let me start by asking you how you integrate these two very personal, powerful concept in your life, the concept of theater and religion.
Well, thank you for asking me, and also thank you for talking about how personal it is, because it really is a very personal thing. And I just want to be really clear. I don't feel like I represent anybody else other than myself and my own take on faith and theater. I have a similar story, Joseph, in that I lost my father 1 year pretty long ago. And at that time, I had been a professional theater artist for quite a long time. But when I lost my father, I also lost my grandmother and several other people. And I was trying to figure out kind of what does all this mean? My whole life had been built around theater. That was what everything meant to me. It was it's what built me up. It's what tore me down. It was everything. And when I was experiencing all this death, and Jerry, this was in like the late 80s. So I was losing a lot of friends from AIDS, as well as, like I said, my father, my grandmother, and another young friend. Suddenly theater wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't filling the gap for me, as it were. And I had some friends who were actors, who were people of faith, who said, why not try this? Let me tell you a little bit about this and see what this does for you. And it was amazing becoming a Christian in my early 20s and how it changed my life. And it suddenly gave kind of added meaning to my work in the theater. And I really have always considered myself a storyteller. And wouldn't you know it, that's who Jesus was. Jesus was a storyteller. He talked in parables. And in fact, it used to drive his disciples kind of crazy. In Matthew, one of his disciples comes up to him and says, why is it that you keep telling stories? And he's like, because that's my way of planting seeds. You as disciples already get what I have to say. But there are plenty of people who can't get it. So they need to hear these stories, and these stories will create a readiness, and then it'll nudge them towards insight, right? So that's a long way of saying I feel like my faith enhances my work as an artist in the same way that I feel like being a mother has enhanced my work as an artist. Being somebody who is deeply in love has enhanced my work as an artist. I love my husband. So that's what I'm trying to say. And all those, being a woman, all of those things help me tell stories. And that's kind of how I look at it for myself.
Yeah, there's no, what I love about that is there's no even opportunity for disconnect. It's so all woven into each other. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Joseph, you made me think about something when you, when you started talking about your father in the passage, and it's, I think sometimes, well, I will say I sometimes have, it's probably protection of having emotional memory loss. And what I did not recall until you said it is that a week before I started to direct Showboat at Village Theater, which was my first show that I directed here, my mother passed away. It was a week before I arrived at Village Theater to direct my first show. And the healing that provided, that the beautiful company, they didn't know, but I have a feeling that people sense loss. They sense emptiness. And I was well taken care of in that first company that I, 14 years later, I'm still working at Village Theater in some capacity, which is wonderful. So I thank you for prompting that emotional memory in me, because I have a tendency to put those things aside because they're painful. Joseph, Do you, do you think there's value in, if you do this, and tell me if you don't, do you think there's value in seeing your work as both a craft and a calling?
Yes, definitely value. But the calling, I'm going to answer that in a not on stage way,
Good.
because as you know, at Village, I do a lot more in the pit.
Mm-hmm.
At rehearsal. Sometimes I don't even ever go on. I just do the preparation part.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've always, because I should have added that in my hyphens in the beginning. A person of faith. I've always been kind of between two worlds, like my whole life. I'm an immigrant, right? So like we moved here when I was almost 13 from the Philippines, and even though this is home. Is it home? Yeah, it's home. But, when people say, oh, I want to go back home, well, this is back home for me.
Yeah.
But I don't deny and I don't reject any of my upbringing before I moved to this country. So I'm an immigrant, so that's two worlds, right? I have my day job, which is at the Archdiocese. And then I have Archdiocese, which includes being a parish musician, too, at a parish at St. John. Actually, near Taproot, like on 80th and Greenwood. Yeah. And then I have usually at Village when I'm fortunate enough to have a job there, and so that's two worlds too. And like when I'm at my day job, I feel like I bring in a little bit of the secular world, definitely the arts, to what I do. And when I'm at theater, I bring in my faith, and not in like a proselytizing way or a preaching way, but just living my life as it's possible to witness just a good, normal Catholic boy without any kind of, I'm not trying to evangelize, I'm just showing my identity and who I am with my faith to another group of people that may not be exposed to that. And so I love having that, I guess, dichotomy or just the two different worlds thing.
Yeah, that beautiful gift of leading by example is just, boy, it's that powerful, and not just in our work, but certainly in, if you have any deep belief or faith. Karen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say about the idea of a calling that you guys were talking about just now. I mean, I know so many gifted people, really talented, gifted people, great singers or artists of some sort who just had no desire to be in the professional arts world at all. And I really feel like that's what the call gives people like Joseph and I, to have a day job and do the intense work that Joseph does at Village requires a call, because he's probably working 80-hour weeks a lot or more, right? And so,
and how that feels.
yeah. So a gift is one thing, and lots of people have gifts, but a call like this specifically to the arts, which is not a very, people assume that a lot more glamour than actually exists in our profession. So a call is necessary.
Yeah, to get you through it all. Joseph, do you think that people should learn about other religions before deciding on the one that they? I know that it's not the most organic way of getting to your religion, because often you're born into it. But do you think once you're of a certain age, you should seek out other religions and faiths before you decide on the one you're going to practice in?
I think wrestling with your faith is important. Yeah, it was definitely important when I was developing, and I'm still, it's a lifelong journey, right? So it's not like I've arrived and I'm Catholic and I'm confirmed, all that stuff. I think I admire especially like I have maybe older relatives, maybe in the Philippines, whatever, who have that. I call it like a pure faith, where it's, they were born into it, they live it. It feels pure and it feels authentic. I'm not one of those. I wrestled a lot with it, especially in college, because I started out as an engineering degree, and then I was drama for a little bit, and then I was languages for a little bit, and then I settled on theology. And I, thank God my parents were like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. Getting that theology degree was for me, and getting that theology and the student loans that I had to pay for a while, but it was really for my journey, my development, and then So I'll end there. Otherwise, I can talk for hours about it.
Man, Karen, as a leader, what difference does a Christian understanding of power make in terms of how you exercise or respond to the power in your workplace?
Well, I suppose that the idea of being a servant leader is important, because what we understand about power is Christ, and Jesus was the most humble among us. He saw himself as a servant to his people, and I think that would probably be the most important part of that answer. No matter how else I could go on and on and on about it, just servant leadership is the ideal for me.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful.
Never asking something of anybody that I wouldn't be willing to do myself.
Huh.
Pope Francis had, when he was new to me, he talked about being, having the smell of the sheep, where like the shepherd takes on the smell of the sheep because of the intermingling and the connectedness with that. And I think in this case, the leadership part and like people you supervise or people you mentor or whatever, because of that connectedness. Yeah, you don't do anything that you don't ask anybody to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself or have gone through it yourself. And I think having that smell of the sheep, I think, is a really great imagery.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And here's a not a fun fact. I say it's something to ponder. Since 1 BC, there's always been some aspect of religion that has been at odds with the theater. So think on that. You don't have to say anything about it. But I wrote to myself, I don't think that is bad, because I think it's a counterbalance, because I think often theater protests against power and standards and status quo and even the gods themselves. And in turn, religion often holds the theater accountable for belief systems and morality and shared decency.
It's been a fascinating love-hate relationship.
Yes.
Right? Where there have been times, we wouldn't have the Sistine Chapel if the church wasn't in love with the art of Michelangelo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a love-hate. When you think about the plays that used to travel through the towns, oh gosh, I'm suddenly forgetting.
The minstrel plays or the morality plays?
The religious plays, or the
morality plays.
Yes, the morality plays, where the whole town would watch this go through, and those were supported by the church.
That's right.
It just goes back and forth and back and forth, and it's interesting, and I think it has something to do with to be a theater artist, or any kind of artist, is to want to understand the human soul. So of course, that's related to the church. But then what happens is the church goes, but aren't we wrestling against some of the negative aspects of the human soul?
Yes.
Right. And it's
indulgence and yes.
But you can't suppress, they want to suppress everything. And yet, if you look at the Old Testament and you look at David, who was a man after God's own heart, some of the worst things that you can do, David did. And so it's an interesting wrestling that's going on.
I love that you mentioned the history of the theater roaming through towns, and then the religious plays, because another sort of something to ponder is that all the way back in 3 BC, when the first theater festivals happened in 300 BC, and it was actually mandatory to attend the theater. And wouldn't that be lovely for our just make it?
How you got your religious education?
Yeah, you have to go to theater. You don't have any any choice in that.
Well, I often think of people like Václav Havel, who was a playwright who was imprisoned for his beliefs. The playwrights are so dangerous.
Yes, because strong ideas can be a dangerous thing, because they can unseat other strong ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a quote I want to put Kevin, our producer, to put up. This is actually I feel like there's a lot of writing about the subject of the sort of the balance of theater and religion. And this first quote is, both theater and religion often share common understanding that truth cannot be contained solely within literal facts. Mm. Wow. I mean,
yep. Well, I mean, that's what faith is. That's what the word faith is all about. Mm-hmm. I remember having a long argument with somebody one time. They really loved me, and they were sorry that I was a Christian because they thought I was smarter than that.
Wow.
They wanted me to have knowledge, and I kept saying, it's not about knowledge, it's about faith. And that's what's working for me, is my faith.
I have one for you. One for you, Joseph. Yeah. And Kevin, if you will put this one up for Joseph. I say characters speak to you, to the deepest part of your soul, and somehow the words make it easier to face the troubles of life and appreciate the happy moments more deeply. Wow.
Huh?
Another one.
Still taking it in. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you have characters that speak to you that way when you're watching theater, or when you're inside of a character?
Yeah, I mean, back to In the Heights, the Piragua guy. I played him as just what I am, which is an optimistic, positive person. He there's in the song that he sings, there's a bigger ice shop, that's trying to beating, it's competition, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I think, in developing that character and finding what about me can I put into it, I remember that role was shared. We had a guaranteed understudy that went on, and I remember writing a card to him and saying, "Remember, you are the heart of this show. It's not all the other people. It's you because of what you bring." It's like he's the first guy that sings in the show, right? Mm-hmm. The Piragua guy in the prologue. So I think the characters like that help me. First of all, helps me become a better person, and I carry that to what I do during the day, and I carry that in my conversations, or as an uncle, I'm helping raise in an extended family, raise my nephew and my niece along with grandparents and their parents. I all of that integrates.
Mm.
Yeah,
it's so interesting because that character, like the Prepare Ye the Way of the Lord and Godspell, and like Summertime, it's like calling us to come on to the journey of believing, which is such a beautiful, old, ancient, theatrical and religious tactic. Yeah. It's so beautiful. Okay, so let's see this. I want to share with you some quotes that I think you'll recognize. So I'm going to say the quote, and you have to identify which one is your quote. and then you have to expand upon it.
Okay.
Ready? I feel like a sinner everywhere.
Are you calling, like, are we supposed to raise our hands or point to the other person?
You can say that's me, or raise your hand, whatever. You can raise your hand. You can say that's me.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
I said that to you.
That's me.
And you both said that to me.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that. It was a trick question. You both said, I just feel like I'm just all over the place, sending all over the place.
Well, we're all
it's our
falling
struggle,
short.
isn't it? It's
We're all just falling short, as much as I want to be a good person and do the right thing all the time, I'm just always falling short, and I'm aware of it. And then, the job is to pick up and turn around and go the right direction and do better next time.
Well, I think the important thing is doing that self-reflection, right? The awareness that you are, if we want to call it a sinner, or you just falling short, right? I think because we are all so busy, and I'm talking about myself, but I see this in other people too. Sometimes you don't get a chance to look inward. And like for me, for pre-COVID, that was my drive home to and from, because I live in Everett, I work in Seattle or Issaquah. That's a lot of driving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I sometimes, or actually many times, I don't listen to music in the car. I just stay quiet, and that's when I process the day, think about what did I do wrong, or like, this person makes me so mad, things like that. But now I'm kind of stuck in my house. It's the shower time. That has taken the place of that.
Anything to end the noise, for just to put the noise on pause. Here's another one.
But Jerry, let me tell you a little bit of, because I think people, when they hear Christians talking about, oh, I'm a sinner, or I fall short, they think it's all about self beating or something.
Yeah,
it's not.
Oh.
It's not. So somebody described the word repent to me, because what we do is, like, when we see ourselves falling short, we go, okay, I'm going to repent. Somebody described repenting to me. It's like you say you're hopping on the highway because you're heading towards Vancouver, Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You hop on the highway, and I'm seeing the signs. I'm heading towards Vancouver. Wait a minute, it's Vancouver, Washington. I need to repent, which is turn around and go the other way, because Vancouver, Washington is north, not south, and that's what we mean. It's not about, like, I know I've had a good day if I beat myself up pretty good about all the bad behavior. For a Christian like myself, we believe that Christ already knew I was going to do that, and He took care of He took care of that on the cross for me.
Mm.
So because He did that, I get to go, okay, I recognize what I did wrong. I'm going to repent. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to do it differently next time.
Yeah. Do it differently.
An opportunity. An opportunity of improvement and correction.
Right.
And lovely. Here's the next one. Facts are fine. Stories change you.
That's me.
Go ahead, expand upon that.
I really do think. I think we're living in that world right now. I think the reason that Black Lives Matter is having such an impact right now is because we all saw what happened, and we're seeing that story played out again and again and again. And we cannot deny the story, and we're moved by it. What happened to Breonna Taylor, that story of somebody who had gotten their life together and was doing all this work as a nurse, and then to have her life taken away the way it was. Those stories tell us that our hearts need to change, and our minds need to change, and our laws need to change. And it's not the fact of, you know, what happened to this woman. It's the story. It's the humanness.
Mm,
It's how we've grown to care about her.
mm. Thank you. Here's one. One of the great things theater and religion have in common is that they both are about the passing on of traditions. Joseph, you said that.
I did. Well, I'm like, sometimes I don't know what gems come out of my mouth.
It's a gem. I love that.
Well, I agree.
Let me just say it one more time because I want our viewers to hear this.
I agree.
One of the great things theater and religion have in common is they both are about passing on traditions.
Yes, passing on traditions and also ritual.
Mm.
And I'm, like, a lot of theater companies or even like pits and things like that, where you do a huddle, you do a ritual there, you don't say the Scottish play, you don't, there's a lot of these superstitious things. But more importantly though, so there's these like little almost, and believe me, I'm not trying to diminish it, almost jokey things, but the tradition is, the reason, I think part of the reason why there were morality plays back then was, there were a lot of illiterate people, perhaps, who had to see it visually and hear it in rhyme, perhaps. Even scripturals like that, it was passed down orally, right? So for parts of it. And so it had to, that's how you passed on tradition. And in my Catholic faith, tradition in a capital T, which is a little distinct, so it's, in the Catholic faith, we talk about the combination between scripture, sacred scripture, and then tradition. And it's the two that form us throughout these 2,000 years. And also, hopefully set the path of like my redemption, personal redemption that we're all supposed to be on.
Years ago, I read about the Sanskrit plays, which were in the 1st century BC, where that was the only way commoners, because they weren't allowed to learn how to read, that was the only way they could learn about religion is in these small little plays, which I believe in a way were the precursor to the sort of off-Broadway black box, because they depended on you being very, very close so you could see the expressions of the actors and what they were portraying about the religion and about Hinduism. So it's interesting that you should say that, because that's a direct theater religion thing, where that's where it was taught in the theater. Okay. I believe this is you, Karen. I'm just going to say it because the other one's a doozy and I want to get to it. Karen, you said, I believe people are moved to connection by art.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that we live in the Pacific Northwest, where less than 1% of the people here go to any type of church at all, right? But we have one of the highest groups of people that go to the arts. And what the idea of going there and having a common experience, and somehow it makes you a part of the tribe, right? So we're all sitting in the theater together. We're laughing at the same moment at the same thing, or we're gasping in horror, or we're moved and we're crying. And you look around and others are feeling what you feel, and it makes you feel like you're part of the same tribe and that you are in agreement with those in the room with you. One of the things that happened to us during 9/11 is that all the other theaters were having trouble. People weren't coming back, but at Taproot, our theater was filled up, and we're like, we couldn't understand what was going on. And our audience told us, they're like, well, we're in a 3/4 thrust. So they were watching each other watched the show, and they said they felt like they were among family, right? They felt like they were in community. So, when you go to the movie theater, it's easy to feel alone and experiencing the movie by yourself, even though you're in a room of people, or used to be before COVID. but when you sit in the theater, it's a different thing. We're all breathing the same air. COVID again. We're all breathing the same air. We're all having the same experience at the same time, and it brings community, which I think is so important. And we, not everybody gets that at church. Not everybody gets that at work, but they can get it at the theater. I'm having trouble hearing.
Yeah, we're having trouble.
It was the siren that I tuned myself out. Joseph, you said this. I really like this because I think of it differently now from the first time that you said it to me. I thought it was one thing, and now I think another thing, and I'll share that with you. You said, perhaps I could talk about the existence in my church of a secret exorcist. Now, this was fascinating to me for all sorts of macabre reasons, because of my mind, because of the way I like to think about things. Here's what it did for me later on. Okay. After I got over the Stephen Kingism of it, I started to think of it as very comforting to know that there's this expert in something that could maybe happen to me, that there's somebody to go to. And so in sort of a weird way, I was like, man, I'm going to be all right. If I get possessed, there's somebody. Yes. I can call up Joseph.
Elaborate on this.
I can call up Joseph and go, can I get your guy over here?
Okay. Well, so let me address that. First of all, oh my God, I'm sure I have Catholic colleagues here and friends. So it is part of our tradition that there is capital T. That I'm not saying timeout. That there's a designated exorcist in each diocese or archdiocese. It's always secret because it filters out the people who are claiming they are possessed, who aren't. Maybe it could be like a physical thing or a mental health thing. Things like that. It is comforting because I think, and this is how I understand it, that person needs, before an exorcism happens, they need to exhaust all other possibilities and explanations for that, right? It's not a physical ailment. It's not a mental ailment. It's not. And then when it's determined that it is a spiritual possession, then that can happen. Now, we can take guesses on who the Seattle one is. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not even going to address that. But I think it exists, and it is a source of comfort because it is available when it is that. And we've talked before about I love scary movies, and the things that scare me the most are the ones that are spiritual in nature and supernatural in nature, not the slasher killer. Because whatever, Scream, whatever. I love that movie, but that's just a killer.
Yeah.
But Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh my gosh. Love it.
And the reason why I wanted to end on that is that comfort, connection, community, all of the things that we've been talking about can be found in the most surprising of themes and conversations and places that when you least expect it, you can find comfort in the fact that there might be a secret exorcist right down the street from you and Archdiocese.
Or in this conversation right now.
Yes. And so thank you for sharing that. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything. I just wanted, I think it's just fascinating. Now, before we leave tonight, I want you to give a shout out to any orgs that you support or support you, or that you just like, any organizations that you go, Go ahead, Karen.
Oh, Theater Puget Sound. Everybody's got to give the love to Theater Puget Sound. Taproot Theater Company, of course. And a shout out to Village Theater.
Oh, that's nice. Joseph?
Oh, definitely villagetheater.org. I go there a lot. And in the Village Theater database, I always have to, I'm at that age where like I have to, what show did I do with that person?
Yes.
Yes. For the
Database.
Yeah. And the other one is, so vtdv.org, right? And then the other one for my day job, but also it carries through my life is usccb.org. It stands for United States Conference of Catholic Bishops.org. And what I find that useful in that one is the prayer section, because I think having a strong prayer life is important for me. And there are some rote prayers, and that's all there, and I use that. And also because I'm a parish musician too, I use the scriptural readings there to plan the music so that the music supports the scripture for that Sunday.
There you go.
Where I go.
That connection. Beautiful. Listen, stick around. I'm not going to let you go yet because I want to get the tally of the question I asked, which was, is theater an art, a science, a religion, or a commodity? And the answer is mostly all three. But there are four.
Yeah, all four.
I think that they probably meant all four. What say you, Karen? Do you think it's all four?
Oh, definitely all four. Definitely. And I have to think about it that way, actually. And I think the one that's probably most surprising to people is that I would think about it as a science, but I do, especially when it comes to lighting design. And set design and sound design.
And even the geometry of blocking persons on a set is science. And
absolutely, I absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Joseph? You say all four?
Yes, I absolutely. Like when when I saw that question, I'm like, my answer is all four, and it's because I think being in the production side of things, I think I definitely see that all four a lot more. I mean, I think as a on-stage performer, I see it too, but you experience it in a different way. I feel like a lot more pressure when I'm not on stage. Like on stage is it's so fun, and it's, to use that term again, life-giving. I mean, backstage is also life-giving, but in a different way. Pressure, I feel the pressure I put myself on is a lot higher when I'm not on stage.
Oh, that's lovely. And, in the spirit of celebrating freedom of thought, we had a write-in that says theater is community. And yes, here. Yeah. We love that. Karen and Joseph, thank you so much for this discussion. You're going to be back because there's a lot of stuff. I still want to dive into all the horror films that we did not talk about because that's my jam.
Tis the season.
I want to see the RJ Joseph show.
Yes.
I'm totally game for that.
Well, I thank you,
Karen. It's been so great seeing you here.
Oh, Joseph.
RJ speaks so highly of you, and I see why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
you too. So you too. I can't thank you enough. This is, anytime we get to celebrate our differences, our commonalities, our community of spirit, our variety of thought and beliefs. It's so wonderful. And I can't thank you enough for sharing with me and our audience today. Just thank you and have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to say goodbye to you and welcome our next guest for next week. Wow. That was really, 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 really fun. So next week, before I do that, I want to thank you all for viewing us, for sharing and connecting. And also thank you to our Spotlight producer, Kevin Vortman, and all of Village Theater, and especially my fantastic artistic team. Next week, Michelle Ankrum and Eric Jensen will join our Spotlight for the Circle of Life that is celebrating caregivers and their specific dignity that they provide. What does that mean? Again, you'll have to tune in next week to find out. It's going to be a really fascinating one. Good night.